On today's show, Mazda has a unique plan to boost capacity. Hyundai reveals the updates to the all-new Elantra, and a look at the design secrets behind Cadillac's new flagship sedan. All that and more coming right up on Autoline Daily. This is Autoline Daily for January 27th of 2016. Mazda is a bit of a puzzling company. Despite a great lineup of cars, it only makes up a small part of the market. While the company did boost sales last year, it lagged behind the overall market, partly because it's capacity constrained on a global basis. One way to get more capacity would be to expand an existing plant or build a new one. However, Robert Davis, the head of the company's U.S. operations, told us on an upcoming Autoline this week, Mazda could increase capacity in a unique way.
I really was interested in Kogai-san, our president back in Japan, had a philosophy, and he's a manufacturing specialist, that's his background, talked about improving every worker by a tenth of a second. And a tenth of a second with every factory worker and all the assembly process would add 100,000, in 3 years, would add 100,000 vehicles of capacity with no brick and mortar.
Wow, that's thinking outside of the box. And it makes a lot more sense than sinking a huge sum of money into building a new plant. That episode with Robert Davis premieres on February 11th. And in other manufacturing news, automakers set a production record in North America last year. According to Ward's Auto, car makers built over 17.4 million light vehicles, which is a 3% gain compared to 2014. The US and Mexico both posted increases, while production in Canada dipped 5% last year. But the record won't last too long. Ward's forecasts automakers will set another record in North America this year with 17.7 million units. And still to come, a look at the updates to the new Hyundai Elantra.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires, your journey, our passion, and by Dow Automotive Systems, breakthrough technologies for lightweight vehicles.
The Elantra is a very important car to Hyundai. It was the brand's best-selling vehicle in 2015, and the all-new 2017 model will be arriving in dealerships this month. As you can see, the styling has been changed considerably. Of course, it gets the automaker's signature grille, but the headlights and lower fascia treatments are also brand new. The character line that runs down the side of the car has been softened and no longer swoops down behind the rear wheels, and LED taillights that feature 3 distinct elements are now an option. The interior received significant massaging as well. Like the exterior, it looks like Hyundai was going for a more sophisticated rather than playful look. And under its skin is a reworked chassis that now features 32% more high-strength steel than the outgoing model, which results in a lighter, stiffer, and quieter car. It also redesigned the rear suspension geometry to improve ride comfort, handling, and stability. Under the hood are 2 new powertrains. The standard engine is a 2-liter Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder that produces 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. The other is a 1.4-liter turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder engine that pumps out 128 horsepower and 156 pound-feet of torque. Those are just the highlights of the 2017 Hyundai Elantra, but if you'd like to learn more about the car, tune in to Autoline After Hours tomorrow afternoon. John and Gary are out at the launch for the compact sedan, and they'll be talking with the people that helped bring the car to life. That's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on our website, Autoline.tv. And coming up next, Cadillac turned to its designers to help develop the CT6's all-new architecture.
For the people at Dow, racing is a sport and a science. We enjoy one and learn from the other. But like most competitive people, we like winning at both. This is the human element at work. Dow.
Cadillac's brand new flagship sedan, the CT6, rides on GM's all-new Omega architecture. But as Taiki Karras, the exterior design manager for the CT6, tells Autoline, it wasn't just engineers who helped play a role in its development. He says the designers gave their input in some key areas as well, which would help them sculpt the car you see today. One such element is the casting that includes the shock tower, wheel arch, and lower portion of the A-pillar. By making the area just above the wheel as low as possible, the design team was able to push the hood and fender down further, so the relationship between the sheet metal and tire is as efficient and compact as possible. And from a proportion standpoint, it makes the wheels look larger than they actually are. And Kara says that's critical to creating a vehicle that has a great stance on the road. And after getting to see the CT6 on the road with other vehicles, I think it has a much better presence there than it does on a showroom floor. Karis also took the time to highlight the CT6's other design features as well. There are 3 key elements to keep in mind that carry over the entire car: lightweight, agile, and athletic. It starts with a classic rear-wheel drive stance. Up front, you'll notice a long dash to axle. That's the relationship of the wheel to the A-pillar, which creates a long-looking hood. That helps communicate power, and along with the large wheel and tire package, promotes more of an athletic, agile stance. Another thing you'll notice in terms of proportioning is the relationship of the short front overhang to the front wheel. There's very little body color in between the front wheel and the vertical headlight treatment. What that does is when you're looking at the vehicle in the rear 3/4, the tire itself is the most prominent forward-leading element on the car, which communicates a long appearance of the tire to the cabin. The low hood creates an aspect ratio for the front that is more rectangular than square, which plants the car and provides visual width, also supporting the agile stance. That carries over to the grille as well. It's wider than it is tall, again helping to communicate the width of the car. And there's one element on the front that harkens to Cadillac's past. This lower fascia embellishment is inspired by the bumper of a 1956 Coupe de Ville, which in turn was inspired by the wings of a Corsair airplane. And let's wrap up the front end design with the lighting, which is very distinctly Cadillac with its vertical elements. But because of the lights used, the designers were also able to shape the pattern of the low beam. And what that does is give the car a nighttime lighting signature that's as recognizable as its daytime running lights. So during the day you'll know it's a Cadillac, and at night you'll know it's a CT6. Over the next few days we'll highlight the rear end styling and take you through the interior as well. But that wraps up today's show. Thanks for watching. Please join us again tomorrow.